Hello and welcome to all. In today's session, we'll see software testing life cycle. Okay, before we start software testing life cycle in details, first we'll understand where the software testing phase appears in entire software development life cycle. So here we can see this is a software development life cycle, and though here we have highlighted the software testing phase here. Okay, but as a full stack QA, our involvement is right from requirements phase till maintenance. Okay, so now if you see in requirements phase, we gather the project requirements, we are creating our user stories, and here, like mostly product owners are involved. Okay, and here we are creating a backlog setups like user stories and all these details. Then in design phase, the architect are involved, and here we are creating a wireframes. And in implementation, like mostly developers are there. Okay, and they are doing the coding. And in software testing, here you can see. Okay, like we are creating a test case, a defect, and all these things. Okay, once we give the QA sign off, then we are deploying in production, and after that maintenance phase is start. Okay, so now if you see, we'll see like in software testing life cycle in more details. Okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned, software testing life cycle as a full stack QA, it's our involvement is right from the requirement phase. Okay. So what is software testing life cycle? It is a defined sequence of testing activities performed to ensure the software quality product. Okay, and as I mentioned, okay, it start with the requirement analysis and ends with the test closure. Okay, and now if you see, this is the entire software testing life cycle. We'll see all these details, and each phase we have some deliverables. Like here, first phase is requirement analysis. Then we need to do as a QA or as a full stack QA. We need to do planning, then test kit design or the development, then test environment setup, test execution, defect reporting, or retesting, and the test closure. Okay, so this is the STLC. Okay, now if you see here through graph like the requirement analysis, then test planning we are doing, test case development doing, test case execution, result reporting, defect retesting. Okay, then we also perform regression testing. Okay, and we are doing the test closure. Okay, so this is the software testing life cycle. Okay, and today's session, okay, we will do we'll consider the login features. Okay, so now this is the like wireframe. Okay, or we can say screens. Okay, and we need to develop the quality product or quality login features. Okay, so this is the just the UI team provided the UI screen, HTML screen. Okay, then we'll see how we can start the software testing activities. Okay, so now first phase I mentioned, we need to involve right from the requirement analysis as a full stack QA. Okay, so when we are doing in requirement analysis, first we need to understand all the fields. Like here we can see what is the username fields. Okay, what is the password? What is the remember me? Okay, what is the login button? If I click on the login button, if we are applying any rules, okay, or validations, we need to understand that things. Okay, now if you see here, okay, requirement analysis, like here you can see we need to understand the username, password, remember me. Okay, then as I mentioned, we need to understand the rules, whether it will allow the username alphanumeric or the valid email address only. If user enters the incorrect email address, then it should give the correct or valid relevant error message. Okay, and when user enter the valid username and valid password, then welcome screen should appear. Okay, so this is the requirements. Okay, it is mentioned in the user story. Okay, and next is the requirement traceability matrix. This is also very important. Okay, like in future, if there is any change in the requirements, okay, then through this requirement traceability matrix, we'll understand like how many test cases are the impacted, and it will be useful when either we automated that test cases or in regression if we need to consider it, we need to change it. Okay, like here you can see like requirement traceability matrix is useful, which ensure the 100% requirements to test cases we covered. Okay, like here as I mentioned, Okay, requirement one, like what are the usernames there are, we apply some rules or validation, whether we have covered or not, we'll check it here. Same for the email validation, same for the requirement three, like error message. Okay, if I enter the incorrect username and incorrect password. Okay, and this is the requirement four is the valid flow. Like if I enter the correct username or correct password, okay, then it should display the welcome screen. Okay, so requirement traceability matrix is also very important in software testing lifecycle. Okay, next is the test planning. Okay, so we also need to do the test planning. So test planning is nothing but the like we need to understand the what are the scope as part of our story. Okay, so as part of our login features, we need to understand the UI things, validation, and the navigation should happen. We also need to consider the different techniques, like we no need to consider only the positive things, positive flows. We also consider the negative flows, boundary value things. Okay, and what are the browser it should support. Okay, then we also need to consider things and the deliverable of this test planning. Here you can see the test plan, test cases, RTM, and defect reporting. Okay, so next is a like a soft test kit design or the development. So here we can do, we'll consider the positive test. Okay, as well negative test. So when we'll say test kit design or development, positive test. Okay, we are considering the valid username or valid email address. Okay, when we say negative test, so like we need to consider the requirements in that special characters are not allowed, or the what will happen if we enter the blank values or invalid email address. Okay, so in that case it is giving the error message. Okay, so here you can see UI test like error message visibility. Then we'll also see as a part of UI things whether all the field alignments are correct or not. Then we'll also see the password. When user tries to enter the password, it should be masked. Uh, it should not like when user is entering the password and the password is visible. Okay, then we'll also add the some security check like HTML or script testing. Okay, though it is not mentioned in our story. Okay, we will, as a part of full stack QA, we need to consider the all the positive things. We need to add it. If in case in user stories anything is not mentioned, okay, we need to confirm with the product and we need to ask the product. Okay, and here I give the sample test cases. Okay, we can write the test cases like verify that the user can successfully log in using a valid username and the correct password. Okay, this is a like valid flow. Okay, then negative flow, like when the user enter the special characters in username or the email fields, then application displays a validation error message. Okay, then next one is also negative test case, and we'll write like verify that when the user enters the blank in username or email field, the application displays a relevant error message. But in test types, we need to mention the uh, correct message. Okay, and we'll also add the positive flow for the remember me option. Okay, and deliverable for this test case design or development phase is the test cases and test data. Okay, so here we can mention like test data is like a valid username and valid password. Okay, then next is a test environment setup. Okay, so here as a QA, okay, we are not doing any setup. Okay, but we need to take follow up with the other team members like configuration management team or infra team. Okay, and what are the software is required. Okay, we need to ask to like deploy or we install there. Okay, so like and as a QA, okay, full stack QA, okay, through harness, we also need to deploy the application. Okay, but before that, our environment or our server is ready with this below configuration like browser. Okay, Chrome should be installed or Firefox if you are supporting Firefox, Edge if you are supporting Edge. Okay, then URL should be accessible on that machine. Okay, because if in case we have a plan, okay, like needs to execute the automation scripts. Okay, then it should run nightly build. Okay, then through URL, okay, application should access. Okay, then what are the data is there, like valid data, invalid data, it should be ready. Okay, and we'll also deploy the dev tools for debugging. Okay, and deliverable is the environment readiness report. Okay, so we'll make sure that if environment is ready, all the servers is ready or not. Okay, so once environment is ready, then as a full stack QA, we'll deploy the application, and then next phase is the test case execution. So whatever the test case we have developed in earlier phase, then we'll execute the test case in sequentially, and we'll mark as a pass or fail. We'll take the screenshot as evidence, and we'll attach into the execution report, and we will perform the retesting and the regression things as part of the test case execution, and we'll track the result in test case management tool. Okay, so here we'll use any test case management tool, okay, like Jira, okay, or Zephyr, okay, and the deliverable is a test execution report. Next is a defect reporting. Okay, so while doing the test execution, okay, if any test case is not working as per the expected result, then as a QA, okay, we need to report a defect. Okay, so here we can see document the steps expected versus actual. We'll mention it. Okay, we'll give the priority as well. We'll attach the screenshot and console logs as well. Okay, as a full stack QA, we also need to give the some logs. It will be helpful to developer to analysis more. Okay, and I give the example like if user enter the invalid username, okay, it's accepted, then it's a bug, then we need to raise it, and deliverable is the for this phase defect log, okay, or defects. Okay, then last stage is a test closure. Okay, so here we are preparing the test summary report. We are analyzing the defect distribution, coverage, and reopen rate. Okay, how many defects we have raised as a QA team. Okay, then what are the lessons learned. Okay, and we'll also mention whether go or no go recommendation. It's for the deployment, production deployment, and the deliverable is a test closure report, and we'll give the QA sign off once this is done. Okay, and final QA recommendation. Okay, like as I mentioned, shift left testing is nothing but to start early. So we'll involve right from the requirement phase only. Okay, we'll validate both functional and UI things as well. Okay, though it is not mentioned the performance thing in user story or in requirements. Okay, as a full stack QA, we also need to consider the performance things as well. Okay, if needed, we need to ask the question to product owner. Okay, we need to consider the use boundary and negative test techniques. Okay, and we also ensure that requirement traceability to test cases we are covering, and yeah, and of course, we need to use the automation as well for repeated login scenarios. Okay, so this is the overall software testing life cycle. Okay, if in case you have any questions, query, please let me know. Thank you.